Man, look how happy Vinny is. Vinny's just like, oh man, PGC! Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Good.
Tonight on the show, I'm gonna teach you how to make stir-fried udon, as it was described on the Reddit post from Our Food. Our flag and our food. But yeah, this is kind of like yaki udon, Japanese dish. We made yakisoba, right? Yeah, probably. But rather than soba noodles, we're using udon noodles. So this is basically beef and noodles. I'm super tired. I just got home from a trip to Yellowstone, which was absolutely incredible. But I got in at 2 o'clock last night. I just spent like 5 days with family, so you know how that goes. Great. The recipe calls for 200 grams of beef, which this is certainly more than that. But when you cook for yourself, you can make bold decisions like that. Like, I want more beef, so that's what I'm doing. This is top sirloin that I am cutting into random chunks. It's probably like the least efficient way that you could cut a piece of meat, but particularly when my brain not work good, I like to kind of just let the knife do what it will, which is fun to me. All right, so I'll be chopping this for a while until I have a pile of beef that I like. Alright, so I chopped up a pound of beef, which is, of course, far more than 200 grams, I assume. And we're gonna marinate this in dark soy sauce. So it's at 1 tablespoon of the sauce, but again, you know, I got more beef, so I'm gonna do that. And then to make it feel like I'm being very authentic, I'm gonna use 2 chopsticks to stir the beef up. But instead of chopsticks, I grabbed straws because, as we all know, that's where Courtney keeps the straws. So, look at me. Look at this authentic cooking. Yeah. Okay, so set that to the side. All right, the next step is to cook the udon noodles for 2 minutes and then put cold water on them. It calls for 400 grams of noodles, which happens to be the exact amount in this pack. These are pre-cooked. Basically, we're gonna be loosening them up and then firming them back up. So, I already have a pot of boiling water over here, which I'm gonna pop my udon noodles into. 2 minutes. I do have a cocktail today. It is the new Phil Special. I'm tired and I don't really need alcohol to make me tireder. So I'm hoping for maybe just like a blip of weird booze energy. Like when we're done filming, I mean, normally John and I hang out after we film. But I'm sending John away as soon as we're done filming, and I'm just gonna sit quietly. Introverts out there, you'll understand. John's laughing, but that's literally what I'm gonna do. Okay, I boiled the noodles for 2 minutes. You can see that they're all separated, probably slimy. So I'm gonna strain them, and then I'm gonna put them in a bowl, or actually no, I'm just gonna put them in a strainer to start, and I'm gonna run cold water over them. First, a little splashy, just to get the initial heat off. And then I'm gonna plop them in a bowl and put more cold water in there. And if you feel confident in yourself, you can actually leave a little stream of water to ensure continued coldness. Today's sauce is dark soy sauce based, it would seem. So we are going to add 2.5 tablespoons of dark soy sauce using the frog spoon, which is the only tablespoon measure that I have. Where is the other one? I have no idea. Next up is 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. One of my favorite sauces in the world. Tastes real good. And it will add an extreme amount of umami to this dish. Okay, next up is a tablespoon of mirin. Mirin is that sweet cooking wine. Bada boom, bada bing. Then we're gonna add some sugar, brown sugar specifically. Be 2 teaspoons. And even though I increased the amount of meat in this dish, I think the amount of sauce will be just fine. One, because I put too much soy sauce on the meat, but also because you don't want this to be soupy. So we're trying to get the sauce to absorb, I'm sorry, the noodles to absorb some of the sauce. And then finally, we will add a ½ teaspoon of rice vinegar. This is just regular ass rice vinegar, not seasoned. You could use seasoned if you want, I don't care. Okay, there's our vinegar. It's not super important for it to be totally uniform because when you cook the sauce, it should blend up a little bit better, but I think this will be just fine. And let's taste it. It tastes great. It's a really good sauce. I almost washed an onion. It's all good. Don't worry, everybody. I'm okay. Don't worry. I really am. I'm just tired. No problem. Okay, I'm using a small yellow onion. Certainly, you could use a white onion. You could use a larger onion. I don't know why I picked this one. It just seemed It was the onion that called my name. What is the food? Okay, garlic. Garlic next. I got some homegrown garlic. Calls for 3 cloves. All right, so supposed to mince it up. My preferred method is the smash. Oop, almost died. I don't know why that was so slippery. I like the smash, and then the rough chop, and then the fine chop. Fantastic. Okay, so it calls for 4 leaves of Napa cabbage with the whites separated from the greens. 4 leaves is not enough, John. Calling it now. We're gonna crowd that pot. We can all see it coming. It's like an oncoming train. We all see it coming. It's not moving fast. We know what's gonna happen, but there's no way to stop it. Wow, look at this precision vegetable trimming that I'm doing. Okay, here's our greens. So we'll slice the greens, which I have beautifully stacked. Okay, here I'm slicing this. Look at it. This is going to be a depth of texture, and if not for the taste, we might not be able to tell these from the onions. Pretty crazy, John. Okay, on our green onions, we're cutting them into 1-inch pieces. These have some broad leaves, and oh boy, you know, this is definitely all gonna fit. Okay, we chopped the ingredients. Now we can saute. So we'll turn this heat up, and you can use an oil of your choosing. I think that sesame oil would be the most appropriate today. It is not in the recipe. The recipe just says oil. So if you don't want that sesame flavor, perhaps you might use a neutral oil, such as canola, vegetable, or if you're feeling really spicy, peanut. We'll give that a couple minutes to heat up, and then we'll be back. Okay, here's our way too much beef, which I'm using the metal straws to put into the pan. Pretty stupid, because I'm going to use an implement other than these to move it around in the pan. And the goal here is to get a little bit of caramelization if possible. You will actually have an easier time doing that in a non-stick by not moving the beef. You just let it cook on high heat there for a little bit. Might get some browning action. Brown is flavor when you apply heat. So, I'm going to leave it there for a minute or 2 and then, you know, use a spatula to move it around after I'm satisfied. Alright. Alright, the beef is cooked to my satisfaction. And I'm going to set it aside in this noodle pot. That's right, we're saving dishes tonight. Okay, I've turned down the heat just a smidge. And in this recipe, it says cook the garlic before the onions, which is kind of dumb, but we'll do it. We'll take it on faith. Okay, 2 minutes of cooking the garlic. There's nothing in this world quite like calling someone on the internet dumb. Not only did I not credit this person for their recipe, I'm also shitting on them. My garlic smells really good. All right, I'm gonna add some oil. I think it needs a little oil at this point, partially just to help things from, you know, burning. All right, so that's as close to 2 minutes as I'm willing to go of doing this garlic on its own. So our next step is to add the onions and the white parts of the cabbage. Here's our onions. Oh man, we haven't overcrowded yet. It's that slow train towards disaster. You know, I'm gonna throw in the big parts of the green onions too, even though it doesn't say to, but I think that would be appropriate. And it says to stir these around for about 5 minutes. See, I'm stir frying, right? Stir frying. I stir it, I fry it. It's Tuesday night, everybody. Okay, I like how this looks. We're gonna add in the rest of the vegetables. They shrink when you cook them. Reverse ballpark hot dogs. So we'll stir fry that up. Hopefully it shrinks nicely and there's room for other things. And if not, all right, next up, add your beef back in. And we're gonna add the noodles, which we can strain. Probably not a bad idea to like get as much liquid off as you can. So really give it that extra minute there to drip and then plop them in. It is at this point that I am confident that we've got enough room to actually cook our food. Train stopped. Or derailed or something. Now it is very full, I will acknowledge that. This means we'll probably have to cook it slightly longer than we would have otherwise. But on the flip side, remember these noodles are pre-cooked. And at this point, everything is cooked technically. Stir fry these about 3 minutes. And then the last thing is to add the sauce that we made ahead. By stir frying a bit before we add the sauce, it gives everything that we're cooking here, the chance to pick up a little bit of texture. Part of why this tastes good. Okay, let's add our sauce, which the recipe recommends trying to give it as much time to reduce as possible. If you rewind the episode, or if John is very kind to you as an editor, you'll see when we cooked the beef that liquid started to thicken up and kind of coat the beef. We're going for the same thing here, but you know, we got a lot more things in the pan, so it'll take a little bit longer for that excess liquid to cook down. So you'll see I am not flipping it around in the pan right yet because it's too wet. And if you do that, it's going to splash everywhere. That's one of the advantages of a wok for doing this kind of thing. You got more space, you can flip things around. But it should reduce down pretty quickly. I already feel like if you look at the bubbling right here, you can see those bubbles are thicker than a very thin bubbling. Okay, I managed to flip it without ruining my life. It suggests that it will take around 5 minutes for the sauce to reduce. We'll see, but I'll show you how it looks as we go. I'm just gonna be cooking it for a few minutes until it's done. I don't know how long that'll take. Okay, so particularly for non-stick, you can tell when things are starting to reduce when you start to get things, you know, somewhat sticking to the side of the pan. Kind of a misnomer of non-stick. But the nice thing is that it's not burnt. Again, it's concentrated flavor, and because it's a non-stick, you can use a tool to just scrape it right off. But look, it's kind of sticky now, and the whole dish is more brown than it was previously. Now also, here's another thing. You can put your spatula in there, and it slowly drips down. So I'm not gonna push my luck. I'm gonna turn that heat off, and this is good to go. Now, if I got this from like a Chinese restaurant, I would be pretty happy because this looks good as hell. All right, let's plate it up. Man, where are the vegetables? Can't even see them. I know they're there. And of course, because we put it in a bowl, you know, it's got schmutz everywhere. If you're trying to make things look pretty, try to bring some of the meat to the top. Okay, let's try it. I want to try the noodles just on their own. Yo, I think it's like the best udon noodles I've had. With the sauce and the stir fry, it completely removes any kind of sogginess or sliminess, and they're just well coated in sauce, so they're basically just like thick noodles. The beef is good. It's not the most tender in the world, but again, I like beef with a little bit of chew. This is really, really good. Very easy to make. It happened fast. Has like a very comforting flavor. It has like the instant noodle taste, right? It's like that, you know, savory, dank, almost like junk food flavor, but we made it with wholesome ingredients, so, you know, you could feel a little bit less bad about eating this. Man, this is great. I'm glad we made it. It really hit the spot. Well, thanks for chilling with us. I know it wasn't a crazy episode, but I'm really happy we made it. And I think that's what PGC is, right? It's Tuesday night's dinner. So that's how you do it. Do you want to credit the Reddit guy? It is Marco Polo. Marco Polo. It's like Marco Polo but spelled wrong. Thanks, bud. See? Pretty close. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.